Okay, so you know how everyone's talking about AI for business? Like, it's everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's definitely having a moment.
Well, I was at this coffee shop the other day, and I swear I overheard these entrepreneurs, and they weren't even talking about, like, lattes or leggings or whatever.
What? No way.
I know, right? They were deep in conversation about how AI was, like, transforming their inventory management.
Wow, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just hype anymore. It's like real businesses using it for real problems.
Exactly. And it really got me thinking, like, is AI for everyone now?
I think it's getting there, for sure.
And that kind of leads me to this article you sent over, Artificial Intelligence for Business Made Easy.
Yes. By Michal. Good stuff.
Right. And it really resonated with me after that coffee shop encounter because, like, how can even us non-techies,
Yeah, yeah. Demystify it a little.
exactly harness this AI power and actually, like, do something with it?
And I think one of the biggest takeaways from the article is that it really emphasizes practical application. It cuts through all the noise.
Okay, so we're not talking about building robots to, like, take over the world here, right?
No, no, no. This is about using AI to solve everyday business challenges, no matter how big or small your business is.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just for the Googles and the Amazons of the world, even like Sarah with her online vintage clothing store. She can use this stuff too.
Exactly. And that's what I think is so fascinating. It's becoming more accessible, you know?
Okay, so before we dive into all the cool things that AI can do, I think it's worth taking a step back. Because one thing that always trips me up is the whole AI versus machine learning thing.
Right, right. Because they often get used interchangeably, but they're not quite the same thing.
Okay, so break it down for me. What's the difference?
So think of it like this. AI is like the broad concept of machines being able to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence.
Okay, so like problem solving, decision making, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, machine learning is a specific type of AI that focuses on giving computers the ability to learn from data without being explicitly programmed.
Okay, so instead of telling the computer exactly what to do, we're basically saying, here's a bunch of data, figure it out.
Exactly. It's like giving someone a bike and saying, ride it. They're going to fall down a few times, but eventually they'll get it.
And the more they practice, the better they get.
Right. And the same goes for machine learning algorithms. The more data they're exposed to, the more they learn, and the better they become at making predictions and decisions.
Yeah, so all about the data, right?
Data is key. Absolutely.
Okay, so AI is here, it's learning, but why should our listeners care?
Well, McCall lays out some pretty compelling benefits. I mean, we're talking about things like increased customer satisfaction, streamlined operations, even a boost in innovation.
Those are some bold claims. Can you give us some concrete examples? Like, how does this actually play out in the real world?
Sure, so let's take customer satisfaction. Imagine you're running an online business. Michael talks about AI potentially increasing customer satisfaction by like 20%.
Wow, 20%, that's huge.
It is. And that could translate into higher customer retention rates, more positive reviews, all of which are good for business.
Absolutely. Happy customers, happy bottom line. But how does AI actually achieve that?
Well, think about all the ways businesses interact with customers, online websites, emails, chatbots. AI can personalize those interactions.
Okay, so instead of getting those generic marketing emails, I'm getting recommendations tailored to my style, my past purchases, all that jazz.
Exactly. It's about making the customer feel seen and understood.
Okay, so that's customer satisfaction. What about streamlining operations? Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, who couldn't use a little more efficiency in their life?
Right. Time is money, as they say. Well, McCall talks about how AI can actually help businesses save money by optimizing their operations, sometimes by like 15% or more.
Wow, 15%. That's a significant chunk of change. But how does that work? Where are those savings coming from?
Well, it can come from a lot of places, actually. AI can help streamline things like inventory management, so you're not overstocking or understocking.
Which can be a huge drain on resources.
Exactly. And it can also optimize things like shipping and logistics.
Oh, right. Because time spent waiting for deliveries or dealing with shipping errors, that all adds
Yeah.
up.
Absolutely. AI can analyze shipping data, find the most efficient routes, and even predict potential delays.
So instead of just reacting to problems, businesses can actually get ahead of them. I like it.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Okay, that makes sense. But let's not forget about the big I, innovation. Mike Hall talks about AI being a catalyst for innovation, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
Right, because it's not just about doing what you're already doing, but doing it better. It's about doing something entirely new.
Exactly. So how can AI actually help businesses be more innovative?
Well, for starters, AI is really good at spotting patterns and trends that humans might miss.
Because they can process such massive amounts of data, right?
Exactly. And those insights can lead to like whole new product ideas or even entire new markets to explore.
Okay, so instead of just guessing what customers want, businesses can actually use AI to figure it out based on like their past behavior, their preferences, all of that.
Exactly. It's like having a crystal ball, but instead of magic, it's powered by data.
I like that. A data-powered crystal ball. Okay, so we've talked about some of the broad benefits of AI for business, but let's get specific. Miguel provides some really cool examples across different departments, and I thought we could dive into those a little bit.
Sounds good to me. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with marketing, because let's be real, marketing can be a real beast.
No kidding. It's constantly changing.
Exactly. But it sounds like AI can actually make life easier for marketers.
Oh, absolutely. And more effective, too. Remember we were talking about personalization earlier? AI can take that to a whole new level in marketing.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, how would this work for, say, Sarah's online vintage clothing store?
So let's say someone visits Sarah's website and looks at a bunch of vintage denim jackets. AI can then use that data to show them targeted ads for similar jackets.
Okay, so like retargeting, but on steroids.
Exactly. And it can also personalize the emails that Sarah sends to her customers.
So instead of getting those generic new arrivals
Hmm.
emails, I'm getting recommendations for like vintage band tees because AI knows I'm obsessed with those.
Exactly. It's about making those marketing messages more relevant, more engaging, and ultimately more effective.
And less spammy, hopefully.
One would hope. And it's not just about targeting existing customers. AI can also help businesses find new customers.
Oh, that's interesting. How does that work?
Well, AI can analyze social media data, for example, to identify people who might be interested in Sarah's products.
So, like, even if they've never heard of Sarah's store before, AI can kind of predict that they might be into vintage clothing based on, I don't know, their love of all things 80s.
Exactly. It's like AI is playing matchmaker, but for businesses and their ideal customers.
I like it. Okay, so marketing check.
Hmm.
What about HR? Because I have to admit, when I think about AI, HR isn't exactly the first thing that comes to mind.
Right, but AI can actually be a total game changer in HR. Think about it. HR involves a ton of data analysis from resumes to performance reviews.
And that can be incredibly time-consuming, especially for smaller businesses that don't have, like, dedicated HR departments.
Absolutely. But AI can automate a lot of those tedious tasks.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, how can AI help Sarah with her hiring process? Because I know she's been looking for an assistant, and it's been, well, a process.
I bet. So instead of Sarah having to manually sift through like hundreds of resumes, AI can do that for her, identifying the most promising candidates based on her specific criteria.
So it's like having a superpowered assistant who never sleeps and never gets tired of reading resumes.
Exactly. And it can even help with things like scheduling interviews and sending out rejection letters.
Okay, so AI is basically taking over all the boring stuff, freeing up Sarah to actually, like, meet with candidates and, make those human connections.
Precisely. Because at the end of the day, even with AI, HR is still about people.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered marketing and HR. Let's move on to another crucial department, finance. Because let's be real, numbers can be scary.
Tell me about it. But that's where AI can really come in handy. Because it turns out AI loves numbers.
Even more than we humans do.
I think it's safe to say that. So imagine this. AI analyzing your financial data, spotting trends, even identifying potential risks.
Okay, so it's like having a financial advisor who's available 24/7 and never charges you an hourly rate.
Essentially. And it can be especially helpful for things like fraud detection.
Oh, right. Because fraud is a huge problem for businesses of all sizes.
It really is. But AI can monitor transactions in real time, looking for any suspicious activity.
So if someone tries to use Sarah's business credit card to buy a bunch of, like, vintage Beanie Babies in Bulgaria, AI is going to flag that as suspicious.
Exactly, because chances are Sarah isn't buying Beanie Babies in bulk.
Unless she's starting a side hustle.
Right. But AI can help her stay ahead of those potential threats and protect her business.
Okay, so we've got marketing, HR, finance, all getting the AI treatment. What about the operational side of things?
Oh, operations. AI is a total rock star when it comes to operations. And we're not just talking about like manufacturing and logistics, although it can definitely help with those too.
Okay, so how can AI help businesses like Sarah's optimize their operations? Because even though she's online, I'm sure there's still a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that goes on,
Oh, absolutely. And that's where AI can really shine. Remember, we were talking about AI being able to predict things.
right? Like that whole crystal ball thing.
Exactly. Well, AI can actually use data to predict things like equipment failures.
Okay, that's interesting. So instead of like Sarah's website crashing at the worst possible moment, AI can kind of sense that something's about to go wrong
Mm.
and like alert her ahead of time.
Exactly. So she can, get it fixed before it becomes a major issue.
No more frantic calls to tech support at 3:00 a.m.
Hopefully not. And it's not just about preventing disasters. AI can also optimize things like energy consumption.
Oh, right. Because sustainability is becoming increasingly important for businesses.
It really is. And AI can help businesses be more sustainable and save money in the process. So it's a win-win.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the benefits of AI, how it works, and even some specific examples across different departments. But now I think the big question is, where do we even begin? Because it's easy to feel overwhelmed with all this information.
I get it. It can definitely feel like a lot. But luckily, Mattel provides a really helpful roadmap for implementing AI in your business.
Okay, great. So let's break it down. What's step one?
Well, before you even start thinking about specific AI solutions, Macau recommends taking a step back and really assessing your business needs.
Okay, so it's like check yourself before you wreck yourself, but for AI.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself some tough questions, like, what are my biggest pain points? Where am I wasting time or resources? What are my goals? And could AI help me achieve them faster or more efficiently?
So it's about getting really clear on your why before you dive into the how.
Exactly. Because if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, then it's easy to get sidetracked by all the shiny AI tools and technologies out there.
Right, because it's not about using AI just for the sake of using AI. It's about using it strategically to achieve your business goals.
Absolutely. It's about working smarter, not harder. It is. It really is about being strategic and knowing like what you want that relationship to look like before you jump in.
Okay, so once we've done our soul searching, figured out our business needs, what's next? How do we actually find the right AI solutions? Because it feels like there's a new AI tool popping up every 5 minutes these days.
It's true. It can definitely feel overwhelming. Like, where do you even start, right?
Right, it's like information overload.
Yeah, and that's where I think Mikhail's advice is really valuable. He really stresses the importance of research and due diligence.
So no more just like downloading the first AI app we see and hoping for the best.
Probably not the best strategy, no. It's more about being really intentional and thoughtful about the tools you choose. Think of it like, you're hiring a new team member, right? You wouldn't just hire the first person who walks in the door.
Right, you'd want to check their references, see if they're a good fit for your company culture, all of that.
Exactly. And it's the same with AI solutions. You want to make sure they align with your specific needs, your budget, your existing tech infrastructure, all of that.
So where do we even begin with this AI research? Are we talking like reading academic papers, attending conferences? What does that actually look like?
Well, it could involve some of that, but it doesn't have to be that intense. I mean, there are tons of resources available, online industry reports, case studies, even just reading reviews from other businesses that are using AI.
Yeah, because if it's working for them, maybe it can work for us too.
Exactly. And I always recommend attending webinars and demos whenever possible.
Oh, yeah, because then you can actually like see the AI in action and get a feel for how it works.
Exactly. And a lot of AI providers offer free trials, so you can actually test out their platform before you commit.
It's like a test drive, but for AI.
Exactly. Because you want to make sure you're comfortable with the interface, the features, all of that. And you want to make sure it's the right fit for your team, too.
So once we've done our research, found a few AI solutions that seem promising, what's the next step in MySol's roadmap?
Well, this is where things start to get really exciting. It's about moving from the research phase to the implementation phase.
Okay, so no more window shopping. We're ready to buy.
Right. And this is where having that clear understanding of your business needs is crucial because now you can start mapping out how these AI solutions are actually going to be integrated into your operations.
Okay, so what does it actually look like?
Well, Mikal recommends creating a detailed implementation roadmap, and that involves setting clear, measurable goals for AI integration.
So it's not enough to just say we want to use AI. We need to define exactly what we want to achieve with it.
Precisely, and how you're going to measure success. Because otherwise, how do you know if it's actually working?
Right, because data is key. And I imagine this roadmap also needs to address things like budget and resources. Because even though AI can save businesses money in the long run, I'm guessing there's probably some upfront investment involved.
Absolutely. And that's something else that Mikal emphasizes being realistic about the costs and resources involved. And that includes not just the financial costs of the AI solutions themselves, but also the time and resources required for training and implementation.
Right, because even the most user-friendly AI still requires some human know-how to set it up and get the most out of it.
Exactly. And this is also a good time to think about the potential impact on your team.
Because I imagine some people might be, like, a little bit nervous about robots taking over their jobs.
Yeah, and it's understandable. But I think it's important to remember that AI is not about replacing humans. It's about augmenting our capabilities, making us even better at what we do.
Right, it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to involve your team in the process from the beginning.
So they feel like they're part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Exactly. And once you have your roadmap in place, you're ready for the next step, which is all about taking action.
Okay, so no more planning, no more talking about it. It's time to actually do the AI thing.
Exactly. But Michelle cautions against going all in too quickly.
Okay, so even if we're feeling super gung-ho about AI, it's best to maybe, like, dip our toes in the water first.
Exactly. Start with a smaller scale pilot project, maybe in one department or with one specific process.
Okay, so it's like a beta test, but for AI.
Exactly. And this allows you to test the waters, gather data, see how the AI performs in a real world setting without putting your entire business at risk.
Okay, that makes sense. And once you've ironed out any kinks and seen some positive results, then you can start thinking about scaling up.
Precisely. And that's the beauty of this approach. It's iterative. You can start small, learn as you go, and gradually expand your use of AI as you become more comfortable and confident.
It's about finding that sweet spot between being excited about the possibilities of AI and also being realistic about the challenges.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination. And it's important to remember that.
I like that. A journey, not a destination. So as we wrap up our deep dive into AI for business, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with?
I think if there's one thing I want to emphasize, it's that AI is not just for the tech giants, it's not just for data scientists, it's for everyone. And it has the potential to truly revolutionize the way we do business.
I completely agree. It's about working smarter, not harder, and using technology to enhance our capabilities, not replace them.
Exactly. And the best part is, this is just the beginning.
That's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, keep those brains engaged, keep those questions coming, and we'll keep bringing you the insights you need to navigate the ever-evolving world of business and